Alright, so today we are going to talk about MCEscher. MC stands for, I think, Mauritius Cornelius Escher. You can see why he wanted to go by MC. He was born in 1898 in the Netherlands. So he was born over 100 years ago. And he died in 1972, and also in the Netherlands. I was about 3 years old when he died. Now in 1898, my great-grandmother was about 10 years old. So he lived from when my great-grandmother was young until I was young. MC Escher does artwork that looks normal at first, but the longer you look at it, and the closer you look at it, the weirder it gets. So you look at this picture right here. It's called Drawing Hands, done in 1948. And we see hands, and they're drawing. And you're like, oh yeah, that's just some hands drawing. And then you realize that the hands are drawing each other. The way he plays with the two-dimensional sleeves and the three-dimensional hands and pencils is kind of interesting. That's part of what throws you off. He also likes a lot of things that repeat in circles infinitely, like the bottom hand draws the top hand draws the bottom hand, which draws the top hand, which draws the bottom hand, and it's kind of a continuous loop. Back when he was alive, there are no computers that will do this. In the 1960s, computers were as big as a room. If you look around the art room, it would have filled the art room, the computer. And all it could have done is math problems. It could not create pictures. So all of the things you see him do, he did by hand. Keep that in mind as you look at all these things. This one is called Hand with Reflecting Sphere. It's from 1935. Again, you're like, oh yeah, that's a guy looking, wait a minute, into a sphere? Oh, look at the room. It's very abstracted. He's playing with perspective here. And as things get further away, they're getting smaller. But they're getting further away in the reflection of the ball. So instead of being straight lines on the ceiling and straight lines for the bookshelf, the lines curve. The ceiling curves because the surface of the ball is curved. This is also a self-portrait. This is himself looking into the ball. You may have seen this in movies. It is in Night of the Museum, well, one of the Night of the Museum movies. It's also in the final scene of Labyrinth, the final Goblin King scene in Labyrinth. Again, you're like, oh yeah, some stairs in a room. But look really closely. Which way is up? This one is called Relativity from 1953. And there is no up. Or there are lots of ups. It depends on how you look at it. So it's relative to your point of view. Right here, we have a guy going down the stairs. But on the other side of the stairs is another guy going down that side of the stairs. Here we have a guy going upstairs, but look, he ends up on a wall with a door. We have a person sitting on a bench here. Like this is a wall, but this is also part of the floor that he is standing on. He's coming down these stairs. This guy is going up the same stairs on the opposite side of the stairs. You see what I mean? Looks normal at first, but the more you look, the weirder it gets. What do you think this one's of? If you can see the title I know it's very low on the screen, but if you can see the title, it's called Still Life and Street. It's from 1937. A still life is a group of objects that are still. They don't move. And you know what a street is. So can you see both of those things in this picture? I can see books and a container, a bowl with a pipe, some cards, some matches, books over here. That's the still life portion. But look how the books, very slowly become the buildings. And then we have a street scene going back here. And he merges the two different worlds with the books, getting taller and taller and taller, just like the buildings are tall. The more you look, the weirder it gets. This one's called Waterfall. It's from 1961. It's impossible. There's no way this can actually happen. It looks very normal at first, except, oh look, there's a coral reef on the side, and in the background are steps, like levels of land. We have like a building here. Oh, that's lovely. And a mill and a waterfall. But wait, look carefully at the waterfall. When things go further back in the distance, they appear to go up on the paper. They appear to touch the ground higher. When they get further back, they get smaller though. And this one is not getting smaller as it goes further back. But then the water falls down back to the beginning again. Okay, so look at it again. We have a lovely little archway and columns here, and they go back to this lovely archway and columns. And then these are on top of these? But when did it go on top? When did it go actually up? It appears to go up, but it doesn't really go up. The more you look, the weirder it gets. This one is called Ascending and Descending. It's from 1960. Ascending means to go up. Descending means to go down. And remember I told you he liked circular things that infinitely loop. This is our infinite loop right here. It's also impossible. These people are going up, and they go up, and they go up, and they end up right where they were before. But they never go down. Up, 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 and they're where they were before. It can't happen. They should be higher than they used to be. But again, he's using the perspective trick of making things look higher up on the page as they go further back in the distance. And he's tricking us with our eye. Similarly, these guys are going down, 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 and end up right where they were before. Impossible. One of the ways he's tricking us also is by making everything else look so very realistic. Everything else is very normal. So at first you're like, oh yeah, people walking around on some stairs. It's not until you realize that they're only going up or only going down that you realize it can't happen. This is called Mobius strip number 2. It's from 1963. A Mobius strip is an infinity loop. He loves math. He's fascinated by perspective in math and how they work together. How things mathematically get smaller as they go further in the distance. How if you take a strip, cut it in half, twist it, and join it back together, you make an infinite loop. So okay, watch this ant right here. he would crawl on the inside of this piece. He would come to be where this ant is, then be on the outside of this one. He would crawl around to this ant that you can see peeking through right there. He'd be on the opposite side of us. Crawl up here, be on this, right where this ant is. Crawl around, and now he's where this ant is. He's on the inside of this part now, where this ant is. Crawls around to this ant, and he's right where this ant is. And then he crawls back up to himself. It's never ending. There's no end to this loop. Not only is there no end, because I guess that's kind of easy to make a loop that doesn't end, but the ant walks on all the surfaces and then repeats all the surfaces again, and then repeats all the surfaces again. Alright, so those are all lovely. They're some of my favorite artworks. But what he is most famous for are his tessellations. A tessellation is a group of shapes that don't overlap. There's no overlapping, there's no gaps. There's no background. So you don't have like a positive and a negative space. Positive space being the space that an actual object takes up. Negative space being the area behind the object, or in between the objects, around the objects. There's not really any negative space in a tessellation. Keep in mind, there are no computers. He did this all by hand. And you're going to learn kind of how later on. We're going to do one by hand as well. Okay, so this is Lizard from 1931. Here's a little gray lizard here. Notice that the hole between his front leg and his back leg make up a white lizard on this side. That's the white lizard's back leg. The hole between his front leg and back leg on this one is a red lizard's tail. The hole between his front leg and his head is a white lizard's head. On the other side, between his head and his front leg, is a red lizard's front leg. Do you see this? So between his tail and his back leg is a red lizard's front leg and a white lizard's front leg. Two of the back legs between the tail and the other back leg of the gray lizard. So there's no space between them, and they're not overlapping any. It's just lizards that fit together perfectly like a puzzle. Now MCEscher, he did some crazy things with these tessellations. You know, he doesn't like to let us know exactly what he's thinking. He likes to fool us. So he started using his tessellations in his impossible pictures. So this guy, he runs down the stairs, waving his arms, and then he becomes the tessellation. This is the shape of him down here. As it goes further up, the tessellation gets more and more simple, more and more cube-like, and becomes the squares, like the squares he's running on over here. He even repeats some of the squares up in this balcony area. And then he puts in a nice normal looking landscape and normal buildings on either side to kind of throw us off. Okay, look for the white geese and the black geese. This is our tessellation right in here. There's the tessellation. We've got black geese. The spaces between the black geese are white geese. But he sort of morphs them out very slowly without using a computer, and they just become white geese with farmland in between. Over on this side, the black geese morph out or fly out, and the white geese become farmland. This one is called day and night. So you have your day side over here with the black geese, and your night side over here with the white geese. If you look as they walk, as they go down, look at what's happening. Black geese, white geese, whoop, not exactly geese, and they turn into squares of farmland. Alright, so back to the tessellations. This is as far as we're going to go, because this is hard enough. It's cool and it's fun, but it's difficult. So here, this is two birds from 1938. The white geese and the blue geese are flying opposite directions, but they are the holes between each other. The shapes fit perfectly together like a puzzle. Here are fish. This particular tessellation of the fish was done with a triangle base. This one was done with a square base. We're going to use a square. But the triangle is pretty interesting as well. All the spaces between the gray fish are tan fish. All the spaces between the tan fish are gray fish. There's no background, no negative space. Okay, here is one of flying fish from 1949. Again, the spaces between the black fish are white fish. The spaces between the white fish are black fish. Such a daggone happy little fish. Even inside the mouth of the fish is one of the fins of the fish below. Alright, so once again, a tessellation is a group of shapes with no overlapping and no gaps. Now I'm gonna make it a little easier for you because this is tough. And I'm gonna allow kind of an overlapping. I will let you do heads of creatures, and the bodies can be behind the other heads. Kind of like down here in the corner, the stork's bill comes over top of the fish. Similar to that kind of idea. Look at this one. These little knights riding the horses. There's white knights and black knights. The real tessellation's right here in the middle. And then as they go further down, they just become one or the other. This has background. This has no background. Right in the middle. And then we have background again. Okay, now you're going to go to the video to see how to create the tessellation.